So in today's video, let us write some of the balanced equations. But before writing the balanced equations, first let us know the valencies of some of the polyatomic ions. In my previous short, I have given a table wherein we have discussed about the valencies of some of the monoatomic ions. So let us see the valencies of polyatomic ions, the best mnemonic to remember. First, you follow this sentence. A happy nurse has cold soup served perfectly. So if you remember this particular sentence, this is a mnemonic to remember all the polyatomic ions in proper order. So first, A stands for ammonium. You know what are polyatomic ions? The ions which have got more than one atom in it. So ammonium, you know, it is NH4 and it is plus. Followed by H stands for hydroxide ion. Which is hydroxide is OH and it is minus. And N stands for nitrate. N stands for nitrate and it is NO3 minus. Next we have is H. H stands for hydrogen carbonate. It is hydrogen carbonate. What is hydrogen carbonate? Yes, HCO3 and it is minus. Next we have is C, which stands for just carbonate. And you know what is carbonate? It is CO3 and 2 minus is the valency if you remember. Next coming to S. S stands for sulfite first. Which is SO3 2 minus. Then we have a sulfate. Sulfate. Sulfate is SO4 2 minus. Next we have is, so we have come till this point. Next we have is perfectly P. P stands for phosphate. You know it is PO4 ion. And it is 3 minus. So like this we have a happy nurse has cold soup served perfectly, for which you have all the polyatomic ions that are most important, and you can as well remember their ionic symbols like this. One so followed by -1 3 are there, and then -2 3 are there, and -3 1 so is like this there. You can just remember the valencies of different polyatomic ions, so that while writing the equations for such word forms it will be quite easy. So let us move on and write down the balanced equations for these word form of chemical reactions that are given. So let us start balancing of these chemical equations which are given in the word form. So what is the main principle? What you have to remember during balancing is, according to law of conservation of mass, the number of atoms of each of the element that are present on the reactant side should be equal to that of products. So because of that only we are balancing. So let us start with our first equation, that is hydrogen plus chloride gives rise to hydrogen chloride. So in the first step, what you will write? You write the formulae. Hydrogen is H2, then next is Cl2 giving rise to HCl. This is the first step what you will write. Second step, what you have to write? You have to write the element, the number of atoms on the reactant side and the number of atoms on the product side. So in this reaction, what are all the elements that are present on the reactant side is your left hand side. So we have element is hydrogen we have, and also we have chlorine. So we have the element is hydrogen and also chlorine. So on the reactant side, how many hydrogen atoms you have? 2, and the chlorine atoms you have is 2. Product side you have hydrogen atom is 1, the chlorine atom is 1. So now so what you have to do for balancing, because we have 2 hydrogens and 2 chlorine atoms on the reactant side, and product side we have only 1, we have to multiply the product side with 2 so that it becomes 2 on either side. So if you multiply with 2, what it indicates? On the product side, hydrogen has become 2 and also chloride becomes 2. So instead of multiplying individually, both of them, you can write a 2 in front of them. Therefore, our equation, how it becomes Cl2 gives rise to 2HCl you can write. And fourth step, you can check whether, so this is the checkpoint, whether the atoms on both sides are equal or not. So we have the element and we have the reactant side and product side. The element is hydrogen and chlorine if you write down. Hydrogen on the reactant side is 2, chlorine is 2, on the product side it is 2 and it is 2 now. So it is balanced. So like this you can balance the chemical equation, and now our chemical equation, the balanced form. Okay, if you write a 2 here, this becomes the balanced chemical equation. So like this, you can go with balancing of different chemical equations. So now let us start balancing our second chemical equation, which is little bit complex. So you have barium chloride plus aluminium sulfate giving rise to barium sulfate and aluminium chloride. So first you have to write down the formulas based on the valencies. You write the formulas which you have learnt in your 9th class. So first step what you will write down is, so barium chloride. So barium is an ion which is having +2 charge. So barium and chlorine will have -1. So barium chloride plus aluminium sulfate. So aluminium and then sulfate is SO4, which is a polyatomic ion. So sulfate is having 2 and aluminum is having 3. So the formula becomes Al2SO4 taken thrice, okay, which is giving rise to barium sulfate, BaSO4. Okay, because barium is +2 and sulfate is -2, so both of them get cancelled and you have is BaSO4 is the formula there. Okay, and also you get what is aluminium chloride. So Al is +3. Okay, so you have is AlCl3 is the product side what you get. So if you remember, okay, what is the second step? You will write the name of the element, okay, and then the reactant side how many they are and the product side how many they are. So like that if you start, you have first the element is barium, okay, then we have chlorine, then we have aluminium, and also we have is sulfate group. Okay, so first when you talk about barium, okay, on the reactant side when you see how many barium we have 1, then chloride we have 2, then we have aluminium which are 2, then sulfate which are there are 3. So like this we have on the reactant side. Coming to the product side, okay, we have barium is 1, then followed by chlorine it is 3, okay, followed by aluminium it is 1, followed by sulfate, how many you have? It is 1. So okay, what are all the things that need to be balanced? Barium is okay, but all these, okay, they are not balanced. So for balancing such type of equations, okay, you know the order. First you have to pick up the group, that is the polyatomic ion, first you need to balance, followed by metal like barium, sodium, okay, the metal, okay, that is there, that you need to balance, and followed by that non-metal. So always remember, when you have to balance such type of equations, group followed by metal followed by non-metal. So here, okay, first we start our balancing with the group, that is the sulfate ion. So sulfate, if you see, there are 3 on the reactant side and it is only 1 on the product side. So to make them equal, what we will do? We will multiply, okay, this with 3. Yes, is that correct? Yes. So when you multiply that with 3, what you have to do? You have to put a 3 in front of the, okay, in front of barium sulfate, in front of sulfate or the barium sulfate compound, you put a 3 there. So that makes your sulfate to be 3. But what is the problem? Next where we will go? We go to the metal, as I said, group followed by metal. So the metal here, barium, when you see, it is only 1 on the reactant side, but on the product side, how many it has become? It has become 3. So what you have to do? You will multiply this with 3. So what you will do? You put a 3 in front of, okay, barium chloride. So barium is balanced. Now barium is 3 this side, barium is 3 that side, sulfate is 3 this side and sulfate is 3 that side. So it is balanced. Coming to the next part, okay, so we have balanced the metal, the non-metal, that is the chloride, okay. So chloride, when you talk about, chloride is 3 onto the product side, on the reactant side, okay, how much it has become? 3 into 2, that is 6 chloride. How many now? The chloride atoms are 6. Whereas on product side, it is just 3. So what we can do simply, if you multiply with 2, okay, there, then our chlorine becomes 6. So we have 6 chlorine atoms which are balanced and 2 aluminum atoms are also balanced. So like this, easily you can write the balanced equation. Now everything gets balanced. So what we have done here, so the chlorine is made equal, like 6 it is made equal, 3 into 2 we have done. And also for aluminium, okay, we have multiplied this with 2. So like this we have, okay, multiplied everything, and finally this is how we have balanced our equation, and this is our final balanced equation. So like this, you go with the balancing part of equation for the second type of equation, which is little bit complex compared to the first equation. Okay, so do try the third one, which is very easy. Sodium plus water giving rise to sodium hydroxide and hydrogen. This is quite easy. Just try to attempt it